It all starts with this. This is the ultimate power.
What goes up must come down. Yeah, my feet don't touch the ground. See the world spinning upside down. I'm not impressed without no sound. I can feel your every rage. Step aside, I'll turn the page. Breaking through your crazy maze. Like a laser beam, my eyes on you. Watch me rule the night away. Watch me save the day. Feel like the storm is getting close. Heading your way. Sonic heroes. Sonic heroes. Find you, confine you, defying your place. Sonic heroes. Sonic heroes. Setting the stage for the heroes to play. Sonic heroes. Give us a reason and we're on our way.
I just had to let the intro play uninterrupted. It was important, trust me. Hello, everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and in case that rousing song wasn't enough to clue you in, it's time for us to play some Sonic Heroes! Heck yeah. We're doing this in honor of the Year of Shadow, and this is one of at least 2, maybe 3 Shadow-related games that I plan on playing in celebration. I say plan on because, in all honesty, this year has been a little rough as far as putting together video projects is concerned, but I'm gonna do my best to make it happen. But of course, first of all, before we get into any other kind of projects, we need to play Sonic Heroes, and we need to be introduced to the titular Sonic Heroes. There are 12 playable characters spread across 4 different teams of 3. And while base gameplay stays more or less the same throughout the game, each of the different teams has their own little gameplay quirks. First up, of course, we've got Team Sonic.
Team Sonic features high-speed gameplay and intense team action.
They're the box standard for how Sonic Heroes is played. Next up, we have Team Dark.
Team Dark stages are more difficult and recommended for the intermediate players.
More or less, they're the hard mode of the game. Next up, we have Team Rose.
Team Rose is recommended for those who are new to action games.
They are pretty much the easy mode of the game. And lastly, we have Team Chaotix.
Team Chaotix offers a very unique mission-based style of gameplay.
Instead of just rushing to the end of the stage like the other teams, Team Chaotix typically has some other kind of goal that they need to accomplish. Now, you can technically play the game in whatever order you want to. There's no true starting point here. But I think there's only one appropriate way to begin our adventure.
Hey look, it's Sonic!
Yo, Tails! Long time no see!
Sonic, check this out!
Guess what, Sonic Heroes? I finally developed the ultimate weapon. In 3 days, I'll conquer the world. Think you can stop me?
Sounds like an invitation to party.
What are we gonna do, Sonic?
No worries. We've got this one. Ha! Think I'd miss this? Time to crack that Eggman wide open! Yeah, let's party!
and Tails' plane goes crashing into the side of a mountain and explodes. Which explains why we don't see it that often in future Sonic games. Makes sense to me. But we're not here to talk about planes exploding, we are here to talk about Sonic Heroes. We're on the first stage of the game, Seaside Hill, with our very first team, Team Sonic, featuring Sonic the Hedgehog himself, Miles Tails Per Hour, and Knuckles the Echidna in their latest adventure to stop the nefarious Dr. Eggman's plans for world domination, which apparently he now announces through talking stationery. And also, he is referring to the characters as the Sonic Heroes, something he has never done before and will never do again. So I guess it is an apt description. They are the heroes associated with Sonic, so I guess you could call them the Sonic Heroes. Though, speaking of descriptions, it might actually be a good idea to start things off with a base gameplay description of Sonic Heroes and how this game functions. After all, this game is a couple decades old, so some younger fans of the series and younger viewers of these videos might not actually even be that familiar with this game or how it works. It's definitely a unique specimen in the Sonic series, and it deserves some praise in talking about, so why the heck not? Let's talk about the basic Sonic Heroes gameplay. In this game, you control a team of 3 characters simultaneously, with the ability to swap between them at will. Each team has a speed character, a flying character, and a power character on it. Speed characters like Sonic, their main purpose is quick travel through a level. They utilize a lot of agility and moves like the homing attack to quickly take out enemies and keep themselves moving. Flying characters like Tails, their main purpose is covering vertical and horizontal distances that the other characters can't. They can also utilize the move Thundershoot, which fires their teammates in the forms of balls of electricity at enemies to stun them, and it makes them easy targets for follow-up attacks. And of course, power characters like Knuckles, their main purpose is combat. They use a wide variety of versatile fighting moves in order to take on large groups of enemies, as well as shielded enemies and tougher enemies and obstacles that the other teammates really can't take care of on their own. The basic idea of your typical Sonic Heroes level is to strategically swap between your team members, having them take on the challenges that they're best suited for. If you need to take out a big group of enemies, you switch to power. If you need to cover a large gap and reach the other side of some sort of dangerous obstacle, you'd switch to flying. And if you just need to run really fast, you switch to speed. Another important game mechanic to keep track of, though, is the level up system. Destroying enemies will let you find level up orbs in 3 different colors: blue for speed, yellow for flying, and red for power. Collecting these orbs increases the appropriate character's level from 0 to a maximum of 3. So if you collect a blue orb, for example, it levels up Sonic. Another way to level up your characters is by passing checkpoints. Hitting a checkpoint will increase the level of your current team leader, so if, say, Tails goes through a checkpoint, he'll gain a level. Leveling up characters, at first, it doesn't really seem like it has much of a purpose, but in all reality, it's incredibly important for making steady progress through the stages. Because each level increases a character's maximum strength in combat and also increases the number of techniques they can perform, most obviously for power characters. Knuckles is what I like to call a melee-style power character. Normally, his basic attack is just a 2-hit punch as he dashes through enemies, but if you level him up, he starts to gain a 3rd hit on his combo attack, allowing him to start triggering earthquakes as he slams the ground, and eventually at level 3, balls of fire spit out of the ground where he landed his punch, and it's pretty darn stylish and cool. But it's pretty important for other characters as well. For instance, the flying team member's Thundershoot move, I said its primary purpose was stunning enemies, but as you level up your flying character, it also starts dealing high amounts of damage. So it goes from one of the weakest combat moves to being one of the most effective moves in the game for attacking large groups of enemies at long range. It's pretty darn devastating once you get a good Thundershoot going. So a big part of making progress through Sonic Heroes is strategically leveling up your characters and making sure they all get to max level. Of course, there's a way to lose levels, and that's by losing a life. When you get hit without rings or when you fall off of a stage, you respawn at the most recent checkpoint, but your characters lose all of their levels. Meaning if you're pretty deep into a stage, then you can end up being in a pretty weakened state when dealing with the challenges ahead of you. So, it is definitely best to be careful. But yeah, that's your basic rundown of how Sonic Heroes works. It's definitely a shame that this game is not more widely available in the modern age. I think a re-release would do well to introduce more people to its uniqueness, especially considering they never really revisited this concept. It is a one-of-a-kind beast in the Sonic franchise. But before we finish off Seaside Hill, we got one more gameplay element to talk about, the Team Blast. Each team has their own unique Team Blast maneuver, and Team Sonic's is called Sonic Overdrive. You fill up the Team Blast gauge in the corner, or you could collect a Team Blast item, and it lets you use a devastating move that wipes out all enemies on the screen. And what a perfect way to finish the level. That's all for Stage 1 of Sonic Heroes, and we get to see the score countdown. You get a better score depending on how quick you get through the stage, how many rings you get, and how well you perform with each character, and if you leveled them all up. Which, if you get enough points from all that, it results in an A rank.
That was tight!
But that's all from Team Sonic for right now. It's time to check in on a different team.
This must be it. I found Eggman's secret treasure. Hey, hold up! Now I get it. Now I know what this is all about. You're mad at Eggman for sealing you in this room. And you can't remember anything, can you? Then it's settled. Now you two make up so we can start looking for Eggman together. Oh yeah, baby. This makes us a team.
And thus we have the formation of Team Dark, a team of edgy anti-heroes with the common goal of seeking out Dr. Eggman. And they're starting their adventure in, Stage 2.
Ancient civilization established on the sea.
This place is really beautiful.
Primary target is Eggman. Don't forget it.
First, some quick introductions to Team Dark here. In the speed slot, we've got Shadow the Hedgehog, who, spoiler warning, was presumed dead at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. But apparently, he got better, and Dr. Eggman stashed him away in a laboratory like he was storing last night's leftovers. Weird, but okay. In the flying slot, we've got Rouge the Bat seeking out treasure as usual and teaming up with Shadow for the second time. And in the power slot, we've got E123 Omega, the latest and greatest of Dr. Eggman's E-Series robots that he introduced in Sonic Adventure. And for a while, before this game was released, I actually thought he was supposed to be Gamma from Sonic Adventure Back from the Dead. I mean, if they brought back Shadow, why not bring back Gamma? But, no, completely different character, and he's very angry at Dr. Eggman for ditching him just like he ditched Shadow, apparently. But yeah, elephant in the room, you probably noticed that we're not playing Seaside Hill with Team Dark, and we're not playing Ocean Palace with Team Sonic. We're instead kind of combining the two teams together. And that's because of the way Sonic Heroes, kind of plays out. See, I like to call Sonic Heroes the 3D version of a Genesis Sonic game. In Adventure and Adventure 2, the game adopted more heavily story-based narratives where instead of going through a couple acts and then fighting a boss consistently throughout the entire game with your selected character, you instead had more directly story-driven experiences between different characters or different sides of the story, as in Sonic Adventure 2's case. Sonic Heroes, though, for whatever reason, they decided to go back to basics. You're back to going through pairs of stages, in this case Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace, and then fighting a boss at the end of said stages with each of the different teams. And thus ends up leading to kind of a problem with doing a playthrough of Sonic Heroes. With Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, I tried to do unique Let's Play projects with those to try and increase their appeal and make them not quite the same as many other Let's Play projects on YouTube. And in Sonic Heroes, I wanted to do something similar, but I ran into kind of a problem with that. Because the four teams proceed through all the same stages in the same order as each other, I tried structuring it one way, and I kind of started to run out of things to talk about. You can only mention the same gameplay details and the same things about the different stages so many times, I guess. Not to say that Sonic Heroes is boring. When you're actively playing it, this game has a lot of energy and it is a lot of fun. But especially when considering Team Sonic and Team Dark, the two teams play basically identically to each other. There's very little that's truly unique between the two teams to kind of differentiate them. And as a result, they all go through what are basically the same stages 2 times in a row. When you're talking about Team Rose and Team Chaotix, they are much more unique in comparison, and they have a little more to talk about when it comes to their general gameplay structure. But with Team Sonic and Team Dark, yeah, Team Dark is listed as the hard mode difficulty, so their stages have typically more enemies, and they also sometimes are a bit longer with added sections onto them. But for the most part, it's basically identical to Team Sonic's experience as you're playing it. And yeah, trying to do commentary on it, I was honestly having a lot of trouble. So this is my second time trying to put this project together, and it's taken much longer than really anticipated, but here we are, we're finally doing it. So yeah, I decided rather than try and cover Team Sonic and Team Dark individually, we're instead going to kind of cover them together, where the two teams are going to take turns taking whacks at the different stages and the different boss fights because they are so darn similar. There's really no other better way I can really think of to do it without this series and my commentary starting to feel like it's going a bit stale. I probably would have been better off doing live commentary, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I had a very specific vision in mind with this series that unfortunately really didn't pan out, so now I've got to kind of deal with my decisions. But yeah, we're going to be covering Team Dark and Team Sonic in a video, then we're going to be moving on to Team Rose and Team Chaotix in the next video, and it's going to kind of follow that pattern. And also, we've got Team Dark's Team Blast Maneuver Chaos Inferno. Not only do they wipe out all the enemies that are around them, but it also triggers chaos control as long as the team blast gauge in the corner there is filled, pausing time. Like, literally pausing time for the game. Your timer in the corner stops counting down and it pauses stage elements in their tracks. Like that giant rolling boulder that was supposed to be following us here. Well, its friends get to join it anyway. But, there you go. Yeah, I'm hoping that my little explanation here helps everyone understand how this project is going to proceed. And for right now, we're going to be finishing up Ocean Palace with Team Dark. We're at the end of the stage, and we get our next ranking. Though we're not going to be moving on from Team Dark quite yet. Team Sonic are going to take over for the boss fight coming up. But there is one extra thing here with Team Dark that I want to cover. Another major important element of Sonic Heroes' gameplay.
Satisfactory level.
Could have been a bit better. Another thing returning from the Sega Genesis games for Sonic Heroes is the special stages, which had been missing from Adventure and Adventure 2, since those games were more story-based and they implemented the Chaos Emeralds directly into the story, rather than having them be collectibles that you find along the course of your adventure. To access the special stages in Sonic Heroes, you need to find the special stage keys scattered throughout the different levels. And then you need to have one of those keys when you finish the stage. If you get hit at any point during the stage, you lose the key that you currently have, and you have to find another one. And the special stages in Sonic Heroes come in two different varieties. First, there's this variety, where the goal is just to get to the end of the stage. You collect orbs along the way, and you, by extension, increase the amount of time you have in the special stage, and also increase your boost meter in the corner there, which both let you more effectively get to the end. Because if you run out of time, well, you fail the special stage. So, you get access through this variety of special stage by clearing the first half of a pair of stages in Sonic Heroes. In this case, it would be clearing Seaside Hill. Or, you know, generally any first stage in a pair of stages. And really the only reward for clearing the first variety of special stages is extra lives. The better you do, the more orbs you collect, then the quicker you get to the end, the more points you get, and then for every 10,000 points or so, you get an extra life added to your total. I don't really plan on covering the special stage first varieties in much detail past this. I just wanted to include this as kind of an example of how they work.
Mission completed.
What we're really after is the second variety of special stage, which we will be covering next. We get our mission clear, and we get our score countdown, and we get lots of points and lots of extra lives. Very cool, but not terribly important. You can skip these altogether if you really want. What you don't want to skip is the second variety of special stage that you access by collecting the key in the second half of a pair of stages, in this case, Ocean Palace. These are the Emerald challenges, and instead of just racing to the end, you are racing a Chaos Emerald, and you need to catch up to it in order to collect it. And, well, the early special stage Emerald challenges are not terribly difficult. And, hey, we've got a Chaos Emerald already. Pretty cool. But now that we're done with that, we need to swap back to Team Sonic for the end of the video.
Stop your futile efforts. You'll just make fools of yourself.
I think you got that backwards, Doc. Man, he's sure one stubborn scientist.
I'm not ready to give up just yet!
That's the spirit, Tails.
So yes, it's time to take on the first boss of Sonic Heroes, the Egghawk. And another important note about the structure of this project, I don't plan on showing every boss fight with every character. Much like the stages themselves, for the most part, the fights stay relatively the same no matter which team you're playing as. There are some minor differences in what enemies are scattered around, but the overall total structure of the fight basically remains exactly the same. So, yeah, there's only so many things you can say about the same boss fight 4 times. So, we're gonna be skipping most of these with the other teams. There are some exceptions to that, and we'll get to that down the line. But let's talk about the Egghawk for a bit. this boss proceeds into 2 different distinct patterns here, where you're chasing it down the runway, the stone path at the end of Ocean Palace, I guess, and then it comes to these points on the beach where it stops and initiates its rotary attack, and that's really where the majority of your chances to attack it are. Of course, you can smash the propellers on the side to completely stop the rotary attack altogether, and you can also destroy the 2 extra turrets there that had enemies piloting them, and kind of completely remove all threats that this boss poses. It's not terribly difficult, but it's the earliest boss in the game, so yeah, I don't think it's really supposed to be. At this point, you're free to wail on it with Knuckles or whatever your power character is at the time. And there we go. But it is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching this introductory episode to Sonic Heroes. We're gonna pick things up again next time, covering Team Rose and Team Chaotix. This is your good friend Sparky signing off for now, and hey, have a bonus on me.
You two ready?
Warning. Immediate destruction if distracted.
Hope you can keep up with me.
A sea palace.
Looks like X-Men's robots are here too.
I'm ready to take them out.
So, you're the ones who are playing games with my army.
Primary target detected. Destroy Dr. Eggman.
You must be Omega. Is that any way to treat your creator? Now witness your master's real power.
We're talking to you, Doctor.
This is revenge for time to pay.